Okay, so this is what my desk looks like actually at the moment. At the moment, it doesn't look much different at any time. I want to talk about door hangers. Let me just lift a couple of these things off here, and I will actually sketch up what I mean when I'm talking about a door hanger. So let's just say we've got a thumb there, and we've got a hand there, and let's just do this. Okay, and there, that's the back. Okay, so a door hanger is just a deal. Let's say that this is a deal flyer. Okay, so a deal flyer, but we punch a hole in the top of it. So no matter what your product or service is, instead of just doing a deal flyer, which looks something like that, okay, so it looks just something like that, what we're talking about is turning that into a door hanger. And the easy way to do that is simply punch this hole. And I won't bother sketching any more on this because obviously it depends on what the product or service is, but the fact is that a door hanger will get you so much more traction than a letterbox brochure. Very simple, because nobody does them. You know, one of my marketing philosophies is to be the I don't know why I went is, but anyway, it might have got your attention, is to be the the UN, the of your industry, and that stands for unlike, unusual, or unconventional. And I guess the best example of that in today's world, or I guess the last 10 or 15 years, is Richard Branson. Richard Branson has exactly the same aeroplanes as Qantas and every other airline. Okay, he has the same planes, but he's been able to carve out a niche for being cheeky and for being a little irreverent and for being a fun brand, because he does crazy things. And does that stop us from, sort of the fact that he puts lipstick on sometimes and get the hostesses to carry him down the stairs of a plane, which is clearly like crazy? Does that stop us from, flying Virgin? Of course it doesn't, because we know that whilst he might be a bit nutty and a lot of fun, he takes his business very seriously. So he may not take himself seriously, but we know that he takes his business very seriously. And I must say, look, I'm a member of the Virgin Velocity program because I'm a gold member or platinum member because I fly so often. It's a real pleasure to be part of that reward scheme. His Virgin lounges at the airports are fantastic. You get treated with real courtesy when you go up to his special lines when you check in, all that sort of stuff. They really treat you like you've been part of the royal family. He really has got it together. Why? Because he's the of his industry. He's unlike anyone else, and he's unconventional. So therefore, when it comes to this stuff, door hangers, I'm suggesting what you want to do is make sure that you consider doing this, okay, that, instead of that. And you might be sitting there in front of your phone or your computer now saying, well, okay, how do I actually punch the hole in the leaflet? What do I do? You just simply say that to your printer. Your printer more than likely has already got what we call a die cut that he's done for maybe one or two other people in his lifetime who have asked for door hangers. But if he hasn't, it's a very simple die cut that he produces, which is a circle. He might charge you a whole $40 or $50 to do it, but maybe not. And then what you do is that instead of going through the big letterbox companies like Salmat, SALMAT, or PMP Distribution, that's P for Peter, M for Mary, P for Peter, who will pretty much only do letterbox distributing. They won't go up and put your door hanger on the front door. It's a matter of just putting it out in Gumtree or some university online portal and just looking for uni kids. Okay, look for a college kid that might be 20, 21, 22, looking for some spare money, and ask them to go out and basically put the door hangers on the front door of the homes. Now, there will be some occasions where those particular kids will see there's a sticker on the letterbox which says, please, no pamphlets, and you have to respect that. But you can imagine the impact that a door hanger will have when that person comes home versus a letterbox brochure. I have told the story a number of times. I had a client in the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and he was a security company where he produced security door screens and security locks for your windows, and basically gave you anything you needed to keep the bad guys out. Okay, and he wasn't getting any traction at all on his letterbox brochures, and so therefore I suggested that he does something like this, a door hanger. Now, I don't have the graphics here with me on this occasion, but essentially what I did was that I drew up something like, give me a second, I'll just draw this as quickly as I can. Okay, and it had a hole there and a hole there. If I could just quickly sketch that up, this is a bad guy in a balaclava. Okay, a bad guy balaclava. and it said something like, "Hi, I called, but you weren't home." Okay, and then on the back it said, "I'll be back tonight." Okay, or I might be back tonight. Obviously, we have to be careful the way that we put it. Sorry you weren't home. I'll be back tonight. Or I might be back tonight. Now, it was done in such a way that it was obviously a joke. Okay, the traction that he got from that was crazy. Rather than just putting out a normal, leaflet that says I do security doors and security locks and I key cut and all this sort of stuff. The fact is that he gave the person in that house a pretty good scare that perhaps they were leaving their property open to burglary. And that's wow factor marketing. That's direct response marketing. Now, would have it worked as well if it was a letterbox brochure, if it was just put out in a letterbox like that? I don't think so. The fact that it was on the front door really made it stood out. And of course, the creative, if I do say so myself, the creative would have played a massive part in making sure that his phone rang. What I'd like to do is just go through a few other silly things that people have done with their advertising in newspapers, and I want to pick on the pharmacy industry for a second. I've just got involved pretty heavily with the pharmacy industry, as a matter of fact, and I've picked up quite a number of pharmacy clients, and the reason is that the pharmacy industry is up against a 40-ton gorilla. And that 40-ton gorilla is very similar to Uber in the taxi industry. It's called Chemist Warehouse. Okay, the 40-ton gorilla looks like this. Let me just hold this closer to the camera upstairs. That is the 40-ton gorilla. I'm trying to get the camera to work. Okay, there it is, Chemist Warehouse. They are really, really, really frightening the daylights out of a lot of pharmacies, because this is what they're doing. They are basically offering half price off all sorts of things. Now, when you are a pharmacy in today's competitive field with, a Chemist Warehouse on your doorstep, do you think that you're going to beat that 40-ton gorilla on price? Of course you're not. There's no way that a normal, regular, independently owned pharmacy is going to beat the 40-ton gorilla, Chemist Warehouse, on price. And what's happened is that there is an accountancy firm here in Australia that looks after a whole bunch, like hundreds of independently owned pharmacies. And they've asked me to put together a training program for those pharmacies to help them combat this 40-ton gorilla. And so that's what I'm doing at the moment. And I am absolutely confident that these independently owned pharmacies will do very well if they join the dots. And my dots are all about not competing on price with the 40-ton gorilla. It's all about putting upmarket barista quality coffee machines in their pharmacies, so that they are going to be enticing seniors who need prescriptions to come in and get their prescriptions at that pharmacy because of the wonderful coffee that they will get for free, and of course other merchandise. And the other thing that I will be highlighting to them is, make a big deal out of stuff that you currently do but you don't make a big deal out of, like home delivery. Chemist Warehouse doesn't do that. They're not built for that. They're a discount chain. But a lot of independent pharmacies actually will do home delivery, particularly, prescriptions for older people who just don't have the capacity to hang around waiting for them. That is fantastic. We're talking home delivery. And when I've been talking to a few of these pharmacies, they go, "Oh, do you think that's a big deal?" Do I think that's a big deal? Yes. You're home delivering their toothpaste and their hair shampoo and their pharmaceuticals. I mean, that is unbelievable. So a whole bunch of other stuff which I won't bore you with right now. But the fact is that if you're up against a 40-ton gorilla in your business, then please don't try and take them on price. Do you think the guy who owns the hardware store down the road from Bunnings is really going to be able to ever beat them on price with his wheelbarrow? He's not going to ever be able to have the cheapest wheelbarrow in town, because the moment he puts it on for $49, you can bet your life Bunnings are going to put it on for $45. So therefore he has to come up with an artificial wow factor. He has to come up with reasons why people are going to deal with him versus going down the road. And that's when people like that, I suggest straight away they bring in some sort of reward scheme where for every $50 they get a point, and when they save that point, they save up a certain amount of them and they get free cinema tickets or whatever it may be. But the fact is that you don't want to take on a 40-ton gorilla on price. Now, let me just tell you what these guys are doing wrong here. But this is Chemist Warehouse, okay? Now, they are purely and simply a massive price discounter. That's what they do, okay? And so you'll see the entire page here is all about half price specials. But they have got Swiss vitamins here, taking up a reasonable amount of real estate with a $1 million giveaway. Now, I'm guessing it's probably one of the insured prize giveaways that you hear me preach about, but look at the very poor communication of that. I'll read out to you the actual copy on here. It says nothing. It just says, to enter the draw, purchase any Swiss product at Chemist Warehouse and enter online at blah blah blah.com. That is not sufficient information to get me excited. What they should be doing there is, again, showing humans. By the way, let's have a look at this page here. Can you see a human at all on that page? There is not a human being on that page. And this is the mistake that a lot of crazy Clark's style, I guess, marketers make. And that is that they just vomit lots and lots of specials on the page and forget that it's humans who are buying them. Now, Chemist Warehouse would have a pretty good idea of what their demographic looks like, what their target demographic looks like. And I'm guessing more than likely that would be, working class people, because they're always looking for a good price maybe. And so therefore, just as in the days when I was looking after the Greater Building Society, I'll just bring the camera back to me so that you don't have to be bored with that. In the days that I was running the marketing for the Greater Building Society, a lot of people said to me, well, how come you've always got people in flannelette shirts? How come they're not wearing a sports jacket? And I said, because most of the audience who go towards a credit union or a building society don't wear a sports jacket. So therefore, when you're marketing, you want to make sure that the people you feature in your marketing are people from your preferred target audience. And so therefore, in the building society's instance, when we were selling home loans, we knew that it was working class people who traditionally would go to a credit union or building society. They just won't go near a bank. These people who wear coats, they go to a bank. So who do you think we showed in all of our TV advertisements and all of our print advertisements? We showed working class people. And if Chemist Warehouse have a similar target audience, which I suspect they do, given that they are a discounter, they should be showing that sort of demographic in their ads. Just before I go, I want to show you a clever business, but a very poor ad. This happens to be Amcal Chemist, so therefore it's an individually owned one. He's obviously part of a banner group, but this would be individually owned. And you'll see there that his unique wow factor is that he's open till midnight. That's great, that's fantastic. I mean, it's such a comfort, isn't it, to know that there's a pharmacy not very far away from me who's open till midnight. I was talking to someone who actually lives in the area near Palm Beach where this is, and he said, I can get Panadol, a packet of Panadol, from any other pharmacy for $6 and something. But if you go to his pharmacy, you'll pay $10. And I said, well, there you go. What he's doing is what the Greater Building Society did. We said get a home loan, get a free holiday. But throughout that 11 years that the Building Society did that, and not once ever advertised an interest rate, guess what? They were one of the dearer interest rates for home loans around town, okay? They were mostly 0.25% and sometimes 0.5% more expensive than a lot of the other banks. Why? Because they were giving away a free holiday. So in this instance, he's actually open till midnight, so he's got more expenses, he's got more wages. But the fact is that if you have a headache at 9:30 or 10 o'clock at night, or you have some illness, and you need some medicine, do you think price is going to come into the issue? Of course not. Price is never going to come into the issue. If you have a disease and I say, look, here's a glass of water and I've got this tablet, that tablet can get rid of that life-threatening disease within 5 minutes, but it will cost you $1,000. I bet you will give me that $1,000 every single time, because you've got a pretty serious problem. I've got the solution. I'm going to ask some extra money for it. I'm afraid that's worth it. And I know you'll give me the money every time. And that's what happens here. This guy is open till midnight. We all understand that that must cost him, particularly in wages. And so therefore, if you go in after most other pharmacies have closed, which is probably 5:30 or 6 o'clock, then you're going to pay more money. But guess what? If you're going in after hours, chances are you need something urgently. He knows you're going to pay more for it. So he's taken price out of the equation. He's getting away with $10 for a packet of Panadol instead of $6 because he's got a wow factor. And that wow factor, as you've heard me say many times, is designed to take your eyes off the price. McDonald's Happy Meals have had toys in their boxes for a lot of years, and I'm sure that there are not very many parents or grandparents who could tell you what a Happy Meal costs. But I bet you they've bought a lot of them because the free Disney toy has taken their eyes off the price. Harvey Norman, 2 years interest free. That's all there, designed to take your eyes off the price. Kellogg's, the toy in the bottom of the box, designed to take your eyes off the price. And this way, guy, Amcal Chemist, he's open till midnight, okay? It's designed to take your eyes off the price and, of course, create a unique wow factor that not many other pharmacies can match. That's about it, guys. Hopefully you've got a lot out of that in terms of problem solution and in terms of having a reason why advertising, in terms of making sure you've got a wow factor. And also the last thing is to feature humans in your advertisements. Doesn't matter whether you're selling a lawnmower, whether you're selling a refrigerator, a lounge suite, whether you are selling a holiday. The fact is that you are selling to a particular demographic target audience. Make sure you feature them in your ad. Over and out. Gosh, I nearly forgot to tell you about my webinar. If you enjoyed this, then you might like to watch my webinar, which concentrates on showing you how to attract avalanche leads to your business. Now, that's either to your website or to your landing page or to your bricks and mortar business. I've been in the game of attracting leads for company owners for many, many years. And so I've put together a formula, and that formula I've called the Avalanche Leads Formula. And what I've done in this webinar, which goes for just over an hour, is that I provide you with that formula, that system, okay? So therefore you'll be able to just swipe it and use it in your business. So if you enjoyed what you saw here, then you might like to straight away go to wowmysales.com and you can watch the webinar straight away. It's not one of those where you give your details and then we annoy you with 1,000 emails over the next 24 hours. You can watch it straight away. So therefore, when you go to wowmysales.com, you can just watch that webinar immediately on demand, no waiting, and you can scoop up more of this stuff that you can use in your business. Now, why am I doing this? Because I figured that if I actually provide these free pieces of advice to you, then when you need help in the future to attract clients to your business, you might like to knock on our door and we can give you a hand. It's called sampling. That's what this is all about. So hopefully you will enjoy it. And at some time when you do need some help, well, you know where we are. So if you'd like to go right now, you can watch it straight away to wowmysales.com. It'll have a particular emphasis on online marketing and a particular emphasis showing you how to master Facebook ads. I show you a formula which I've called the two-step sell formula, and it has worked over and over and over again for many of my clients. So if you're interested in making your Facebook ads work, then you might like to get there straight away and have a look at this. It's at wowmysales.com. It's a free webinar and you can watch it straight away.